9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Hello and welcome to Little Blessings Online, your baby and toddler group for you in the comfort of your own home at a time and a place most convenient to you.
I hope you're sitting comfortably and got a nice drink. I have my stripy mug, large one actually, for my lemon and ginger today, a herbal tea. I'm hoping that's helping me relax. What about you?
I got hot chocolate, but it's mint hot chocolate in my special penguin mug.
Yes, absolutely.
Can you see the penguins?
Cool, isn't it?
Is it?
Yeah. So hopefully you've got what you need and you're sitting comfortably. Our helpers, let's check and see if they're all right. Check in with them. Hey guys, are you comfortable?
Yeah.
What's your favourite toy? We've got some toys there. Is that Peter? What you got? Chinook. Wow, that's so cool. Lego. Oh, and Nathan. What's that? Toolbox.
Big,
What do you?
yeah,
what you
bigger
got?
voice, baby
Yeah.
toy.
What do you use that for, Nath?
Putting together, showing you what to use it for.
Putting together a shelving unit.
Lots of practical things. And Andy wants to show your favourite toy.
This is my. It's a Land Rover Defender, actually, is what it is.
Yeah.
Or a Land Rover 90 Defender, if perhaps you're a little bit older. We used to have a Discovery, which was awesome. So this is the closest I could find. But it's really cool, because it's British Racing Green.
Yeah, and what you didn't see before we started, he was playing with it, and it's got friction, so you can't quite see it on the camera, but it holds when it's on the end of the sofa, which is really cool. I quite like that. And I've got my teddy bear, actually, which what I like about this one is you can put your hands, or just about squeeze your hands up there, so he sits on a shelf, and it looks like he's holding on to a tree. I like that.
So, what have we got coming up today?
Well, today we have a story time which you have written, haven't you, Andy?
Yeah.
Especially for you guys, a story based on the feeding of the 5,000. This boy, bless him, loses his lunch and his lunchbox, but it's all right. It turns out all right in the end.
It does.
We've got some great songs to sing, to think about God, how great God is and how awesome Jesus is. And then art time, we've got a special treat. I do some baking. We make some flatbread. How cool's that?
So I have a question. Do you like bread? Whether you like gluten-free bread or bread with gluten, I don't know what gluten is, but I get the point of it not being in bread if you've got issues with it. We like bread in this house. There's 5 of us. We've got 3 boys, so we get through quite a lot of bread. And when COVID first happened, we couldn't get the bread we normally bought sliced, because they stopped slicing it for you. And so we thought, well, how's this going to work? So we got a little video of our journey with bread slicing.
So here's our loaf of bread that we bought from the shop. We can't get it sliced. So what we started with was a knife that we always, it's a bread knife that we've had for about 6 or 7 years. It's really good. It's good quality. And we use that. And you see Andy slicing into it. That's quite thick, that bit. Let's see what happens. Oh, it's quite thick. Oh, that's not good, is it? So that's what happens with that knife. There's nothing wrong with the knife in itself. It's good quality, but we're not getting the sliced bread that we'd like. It looks a bit messed up there. So what we decided to do was get this contraption. This helps us and guides us to slice the bread better. So there's a loaf in there. That's it. You see that one? It's wooden. It's just got slats. And Andy will just show you how this works. So we had the same knife, and I don't know if you can notice, but he's still struggling even with this new contraption. I mean, if you see that slice, that's not so good, is it? That didn't work quite so well with that. Now he's going to try. This is what happened. We bought a different knife. We kept the same system for the guide, and then look at that. That knife is so different. And then, wow, it's just going through really nicely. And I think you'll find that we're getting similar sizes, apart from that first one, but we're starting to get better slices of bread with a really good guide and a decent knife that works.
So there's some of our bread slicing journey. We do a lot of bread slicing in this house. So I wondered what your favourite type of bread was. The bread in that one is a seeded loaf. It's got little teeny tiny seeds, which I really like. Some of my family like, some of them don't. So we have to buy 2 loaves of bread every time, which is fine. So I wonder what your favourite slice of bread is. Do you like a thin slice? Do you thick slice? And what bread do you like? Do you like rolls? Do you like baps? Do you know what a barm cake is? If you're from Manchester, you possibly will. For the rest of the world, it's a bap. Okay, little roll. So it's amazing how we have different names for bits of bread and we have different tastes. And that's really exciting because we're all very different. So now it's time for story time. Today we're looking at the boy who lost his lunch. One day I saw this big crowd of people. I was carrying my brand new lunchbox with me, so tucking that carefully under my arm I ran towards the crowd. Something more interesting than my walk in the park must be happening. As I started to catch up with the crowd, I soon saw it was a really huge crowd. And while I'm okay at doing my mathematics, I'm still stuck on my 2 times table. There was just no way I could count that many people because I ran out of fingers and toes to count them with. Well, the crowd was moving along and they were all excited about something. Maybe they were trying to buy new lunch boxes for themselves too. It was getting late, so I was a bit surprised they didn't pop into the local shops to get a sandwich or something. But no, they just carried on. They didn't ask for directions or anything. They must know what they're doing and where they're going. But eventually, and before I even knew it, I must have walked like 1,000 miles or something because my feet were so tired. I almost broke into my lunchbox for a bit to eat. But the people looked a bit hangry. You know, hungry, angry at the same time. And I kept my food to myself because, well, I thought I'd wait until I could sneak off and start munching the food my mum had given me on my own. Eventually we came to a stop at the top of a mountain and I soon saw why everybody was there. Right in the middle of these millions of people, or thousands, well, like as many as I've seen at a football match anyway, I actually recognise this chap in the middle. His name is Jesus. Although everybody was going a bit headless about him being called John. But no, he was definitely called Jesus. He'd once made me feel better. I fell over and I hurt my knee and it was bleeding a little bit and, well, I was a bit upset. Jesus saw me crying. He was chilling. And then he said, "Your knee's better." And it was. Not something you forget when you've got a bleeding knee because you're crying and feeling sorry for yourself because you've just scraped your brand new lunchbox that your mum just bought you. And you've been told to look after this one. I do try to look after them, but I get through quite a few lunchboxes. I never know where they go. Anyway, there's Jesus and his bunch of mates around him looking a bit panicked, while as ever Jesus is just chilling about the whole thing, but looking a little bit sad, I thought. In fairness to his mates, the sound of all those people's tummies rumbling was a bit scary, even to me, and I'm really brave for my height. Can you imagine every person in a football ground all having tummy rumbles at the same time? It'd make the whole place shake. Well, it did for me. I heard the sound. I looked at my lunchbox and I went to open it. And then I saw all the hungry people around me. My dad always teaches me to look after others and to help whenever I can. So if nothing else, at least I could share my food with Jesus, because he was nice to me, when then at least he wouldn't be hungry anymore. I slowly walked through the crowd, clutching my lunchbox at my side, whistling and looking up to the sky, as innocent as I could, trying to look as though my lunchbox wasn't really full, stuffed with bread and fish. Eventually, I made it to Jesus and I gave him my lunchbox. As ever, he smiled his warmest smile at me. and asks me how my knee was. How can he remember that? Anyway, his mates looked a little bit upset again. Maybe they didn't like my lunchbox. But Jesus took my food, said out loud to his dad how grateful he was for the food. Now, I couldn't see his dad, but he must be nearby because he wasn't shouting or anything. Well, he then gives my 5 loaves and my 2 fish, fresh, baked, crusty rolls, to his disciples, breaking them in 2 as he passes them to each of his friends. The funny thing is, it took quite a while for me to notice, but before long my lunchbox was feeding everybody. And then there was more food than I'd ever seen left over. Now, I know nobody had brought any food with them. The shops were a long way away, and Uber don't deliver to this mountain, nor do the pizza people. No one had a lunchbox with them, just me. And there it was, sat at my side after Jesus had given it back to me, so I could take it home. I wasn't going to lose this one. But before long I was wandering with all the crowds back home, still a little bit uncertain what's just happened. But the tummy rumbles had stopped, so everybody must have had something to eat. And when I finally got home, I told my mum all about it. She asked me where my lunchbox was. But I didn't know what I'd done with it this time either.
That's a lovely story about a very generous boy sharing what he had and how amazing Jesus turned it into so much more. It's a shame he lost his lunchbox at the end, but I think he probably got another one out of it, so that's all right. But it's great, and I must admit, it's making me feel hungry, all that tummy rumbling and talking of food and bread.
I want me lunch.
We want some food now. So it's now time for song time. We've got a couple of songs for you there. So get a space and get into the actions of my God is big and Jesus is very wonderful.
My God is so big, so strong and so mighty, there's nothing my God cannot do. My God is so big, so strong and so mighty, there's nothing my God cannot do. The mountains are his, the rivers are his, the stars are his handiwork too. My God is so big, so strong and so mighty, there's nothing my God cannot do. My God is so big, so strong and so mighty, there's nothing my God cannot do. My God is so big, so strong and so mighty, there's nothing my God cannot do. The mountains are his, the rivers are his, the stars are his handiwork too. My God is so big, so strong and so mighty, there's nothing my God cannot do. My God is so big, so strong and so mighty, there's nothing my God cannot do. My God is so big, so strong and so mighty, there's nothing my God cannot do. The mountains are his, the rivers are his, the stars are his handiwork too. My God is so big, so strong and so mighty, there's nothing my God cannot do. My God is so big, so strong and so mighty, there's nothing my God cannot do. My God is so big, so strong and so mighty, there's nothing my God cannot do. The mountains are his, the rivers are his, the stars are his handiwork too. My God is so big, so strong and so mighty, there's nothing my God cannot do. Jesus' love is very wonderful. Jesus' love is very wonderful. Jesus' love is very wonderful. Oh, wonderful love. Jesus' love. Jesus' love is very wonderful. Jesus' love is very wonderful. Jesus' love is very wonderful. Oh, wonderful love. so high, so high. You can't get over it, so low. You can't get under it, so wide. You can't get round it, oh, a wonderful love so high, so high. You can't get over it, so low. You can't get under it, so wide. You can't get round it, oh, wonderful love. Jesus love, Jesus love is very wonderful. Jesus love is very wonderful. Jesus love is very wonderful, oh, wonderful love. Jesus love, Jesus love is very wonderful. Jesus love is very wonderful. Jesus love is oh wonderful, oh, wonderful love.
Hoping you had some enjoyment with those songs. So, Jesus Love is so very, very wonderful that he's given us some brilliant creativity with our minds and our hands and our eyes and our ears. And it includes things like making recipes for food. Now, at the end, under the comment section, you'll find 2 recipes. One is for natural yogurt for our next little bit of an art time, which is baking. And another is for Greek yogurt. And what we've got is a video of Joe with Peter, our little boy, making some flatbread, which is like little bread that's flat, as opposed to making some flatbread. So this is our art time today. But we've got some yogurts. These are really, really easy. So here's Joe making a dead simple 2-ingredient recipe flatbread.
For our art time today, we're going to make flatbread. And I can't believe how simple this recipe is. There are literally 2 ingredients. We've got here Greek style yogurt and self-raising flour. 2 ingredients, really easy flatbread. So you need 220 grams of self-raising flour and 125 grams of Greek yogurt. And then Peter is going to put the flour into the bowl, first of all, with the spatula, nice and gently, so it doesn't go everywhere, so we don't get it all over the place. There we go. Literally, you take 2 ingredients and put them in a bowl and mix them together. That's what we need to do. I know we've obviously weighed out our ingredients. This will make, I think, 6 to 8 pieces of flatbread, so I suppose you could increase the ingredients to make more. And then the yogurt, the Greek yogurt next. Try and scrape out as much as you can there, Peter. Push that out. And we're literally going to mix it up now. I'm using a wooden spoon, but I guess you could use a metal spoon as well. Shall I just have a little go so we can get that extra bit out there, Peter? Because it's a bit awkward, isn't it? Just as you can see, scraping out as much as we can from the bottom of that bowl. Are you ready to do some mixing, Peter?
Yeah.
Okay, go on then. And then we just literally mix it up. And you mix it, all mixed in. I think we might need a metal spoon for this. But and then you mix it in. And then you just want to make it much more spoon. You have to have hands in there. How are you doing? Try to spoon now. And say, you use that spoon, you feel comfortable. Spoon. Yeah, okay, go on. Just keep mixing. Mix it. And you're happy you can mix no more. That's when you have to put your hands in. And basically creating the dough for our bread. Okay. What do you want it? That's good. Keep going there. It's not looking like breadcrumbs at the moment. And it's not looking much like dough, is it, Peter?
No.
So we need to get it sticking together. I think I need to get my hands dirty now. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to put my hands. So those stick. And start mixing together my hands. Okay. There we go. And you find it's sticky enough. Just put it in. There. I think a bit more. It's not quite sticky enough. Okay, well what we're seeing here, you can see it's a bit crumbly and I think we need a bit more moisture. So I've got a little bit more yoghurt. Peter, do you want to do a bit of mixing with your hands? I'll put a little dab more and see how that gets on. That is nice, that is. Do that a little bit more.
Feels like a wet tea towel.
That's really funny. Oh, that's much better, isn't it? That's lovely. Perfect. And you just keep doing that. I think that will do us. And then the next stage, we're going to roll it out. Okay, we have our dough ready. So now what we need to do is flour the board. Peter, could you do that? Put a bit of flour, just lightly flour a board. Pour a bit or use your hands, that's it. And just that'll be enough. And then just squash it around with your hands to cover the whole board. And then you make sure your hands have got flour on it. I might have a go as well because I'll help you get this out. And so what you do is you take this out and Peter, you're going to do a bit of kneading, aren't you?
Yeah.
Just make sure it's nice and don't want to get it too dry. There we go. There you go, Peter. Do a bit of kneading, get it into a ball. That's the plan. So if you break it into half first, Peter, like if you go into I tell you what, actually, if we do half each, then
Okay.
I'll speed up things. So you have that half, and I'll have this. And so we break it into. You've got 4, haven't you?
Yeah.
So if I break it into half again, and then break it into half again, and that makes it a bit more equal, doesn't it? And then what you want to do is make them into a bit of a ball as well, and we'll put them to one side. I'm going to put a little bit of flour on here, so we'll put them to one side, shall we? Like that. Oh, I've lost one. Hang on. So there we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And that last one, you might as well do that on the board now. So what you need is the rolling pin to roll it out, and we're going to roll it flat into oval shape. So you need a bit of flour on the rolling pin, don't forget, so that doesn't stick. Just take just a tiny bit, Peter, just a tiny bit, really just a little bit. That's it, just that's it, a light covering, and then roll it out into oval shapes. That's it. Maybe a little bit more flour on because it seems to be sticking, doesn't it? I'll help you out. There you go. You just got to keep doing that from time to time just to make sure it doesn't stick. I'm not quite sure how flat we need this to go. What do you think, Peter?
I think that's probably.
That's an oval, yeah? Should we go for that? Yeah,
After we've been doing this a while, I think the trick is to squish it a bit first, then do it afterwards. It just gives you a bit more.
that's a good tip. That. So what do you mean? What do you mean squish it here now at the start?
Yeah, and then you just roll it. It means it's a bit easier.
Okay, that's a good tip there from Peter. Squish it first before you roll it. Okay, so here's our flatbread, and the final stage is literally to put it into a hot pan and to cook. I think literally it's only going to take a few minutes either side, 4 minutes, I think. And so we just let that sizzle and heat up. If you've got a non-stick, you don't need oil, but our pan's doesn't help. You could always go in a griddle, but literally you're just heating them up in a nice hot pan just to finish it off. And then our flatbreads will be cooked and ready to serve. You could have them in the morning, you could have them with pizza, you could have it with curry, and of course these are just plain flatbread, so you could oil it and put some garlic on or different kinds of flavours, but we've just gone for a plain flatbread. Let that cook for a few minutes. And there we have it. These flatbreads, all lovely, nice and cooked, ready to eat. Hope you enjoy making flatbreads.
And I will say they tasted super nice. And you'll notice that when Joe and Peter were breaking up the little balls, they had one big ball and made lots of little balls of dough. They were breaking it into 2 and spreading it around. And that's basically what Jesus was doing. I'm not saying the process thereafter was what happened with the miracle of the feeding of the 5,000. But Jesus took the bread and he broke it, which is what Joe and Peter were doing. So we have got some really exciting things coming up. But first, if you've taken some photos of your own art time projects, when any of the 2 series that we've done so far, 10, 11 episodes, there's lots of art projects that we've shown you how to do. So if you've got some photos of your work, or you working, or a video, you can send that, and we can share that with everybody. But some exciting stuff. If you want to pray something, and you're not quite sure how to pray for it, you can send it through to us. And what we do on weekdays, Monday through Friday, we have a little bit of a prayer time as a family around 4 p.m, which you're very welcome to join us with on Facebook. But if you don't know how to pray for something, you can send us a prayer request and we'll pray that for you. And one more really, really exciting thing, which I'm super excited about, is Light Party. So, 31st of October, churches are closed. pretty much. They're sort of slightly open, but not really. So we're going to do a live broadcast light party right here from our home here in the UK, 7 p.m. 31st of October. We have a happy pumpkin carving, we have art time with some really cool projects that you can get involved with depending on what you've got in your house, and we have aerobics and much more. So you are very welcome to join us for free as ever here on facebook.com and also our YouTube channel. It will broadcast live to both of those at the same time, so you can join us then. That would be fantastic. So that's what we do. If you want to send a prayer request, we'll do that, and the light party would be really exciting if you can join us. Broadcast live on Facebook and YouTube at the same time, which will be fun to do.
Good. Yeah. So that's it for today then. Our season 2 episode 3 of Little Blessings has come to an end. Thank you so much for joining us whatever time you are. Send in your photos if you make the flatbread or anything else. Just keep in touch, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.
Bye for now. Stay up to date with the BerryBunch. You can follow us online, www.berrybunch.family. We're on facebook.com/BerryBunchFamily. You can also find us on Instagram and YouTube as well.